Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam. Welcome back to the Friday Project. And if you did not hear the announcement at the beginning of the video, put on your 3D glasses like Russell and I have, because we're talking about a 3D movie today. You know it's serious because the machete's coming at you in 3 dimensions. Not really, but mark it.
Oh, it's so great. It's so funny. All the little subtle little things, like even when they have the handle, they're like this. They're like, make sure they got to get it right to the screen there.
I have no idea how Jacob Collins wears this in every video that we do together. But I'm going to see how long I can keep these on my head without them falling off, or I just throw them down. But in the Friday Project so far, we have covered Friday 1 and Friday 2. But now we are at the one that is, I'd say, the most divisive, but the one that kind of coagulates and brings everything together. The most complete version of Jason to date. However, the rest of the movie's rather lacking, but we'll get to that. But like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching or if you're listening on Spotify, we'd appreciate some stars there. Without any further ado, let's get into Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D.
This was directed once again by Steve Miner, who returned to direct this from Friday the 13th, Part 2. We got more teenagers. We got Jason in his most complete form with hockey mask, machete, and the whole nine. And we got 3D, which, let's just rip that Band-Aid off. The 3D is just terrible.
It's just so deliberate. You know what I mean? It's like when you go to see movies now, like even like cartoons or whatever, like animated films, and you know that they just put it in just because of the 3D. It's just so off-putting. But in the 80s, I'm sure this was like a big deal. So, and they spent extra money on it, I guess, because they filmed the whole thing in 3D, I guess. So probably back then, I'm sure it was pretty pricey.
Well, I remember very distinctly, like, just when I was like getting into movies seriously, it was 2010. That was my first big year. And I remember like the year prior, like Avatar had come out. And so because Avatar made $1 billion, the original $1 billion movie, every movie had to be in 3D, like the post-converted kind, where it was not meant to be in 3D.
Oh, but, yeah, like Phantom Menace.
You had the blue bins out front of every theater. And like the 3D was debatable at best. But
it was cool for my Bloody Valentine 3D, because that movie was specifically, that was right before Avatar, right around Avatar in 2009. But like you said, outside of Avatar, outside of that though, they were just releasing things. Like they released, it was anniversary for Beauty and the Beast animated. Oh, let's put it in 3D, but it doesn't really do anything. I just went to see it just because I love Beauty and the Beast. But like that's the thing. Like Phantom Menace 3D totally didn't need to be 3D because nothing really happened in it. That, you know what I mean? But it was just because it was a cash grab.
Well, I remember when Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was in post-converted 3D, but the 3D glasses were like Harry Potter's like circular glasses.
Yep. I still have a pair of those. Yep.
Those were really cool. Like when Wonder Woman came out, we got Wonder Woman special 3D glasses. Yeah. So like what we get for the popcorn buckets today were the 3D glasses back when I was growing up, if that makes any sense to any of you watching or listening.
Yeah, that popcorn bucket game is strong, man. That puts additional revenue. I was reading like AMC, Regal, and like Cinemark make tons of money because of that stuff. That Trojan horse for the Odyssey was like $75.
It seems impractical to me, but clearly I'm not like most people.
I got enough. Like I felt like I was buying all the time, like different like cups and buckets, and my wife yelled and said, we don't need all that. But yeah, like what am I gonna do with a Trojan horse? If I put it on like if I put it in my movie room somewhere, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what to do with it. That's not practical.
Well, all of this, I mean, we do have a movie to talk about. I mean, we might as well just get into it. And like we've covered with the project so far. The first Friday the 13th was the one that started it all. The second one was a slight downgrade, but still kept the original ideas. Yeah. Third one is definitely the weakest of the three we've covered. However, I would put forth an argument that the beginning is great and the ending is great. The rest is thoroughly mediocre.
Yeah, I agree. And then again, they really love this previously in Friday the 13th Part 2. I was reading somewhere they originally were just going to make it a trilogy. I saw
Yeah,
somewhere.
and I believe we talked about it last week, but there was also supposed to be an idea of Friday the 13th as an anthology
Yeah,
centering around the whole Friday the 13th is bad luck thing. And obviously
yeah.
that did not happen because Paramount at the time was just raking it in, so we got to keep bringing Jason back somehow. And like I mentioned, the opening minus the shot for shot retelling of the ending of 2 I
Yeah.
thought was great with the mother, not the mother, but the husband and wife in the house, and Jason kind of lurking in between the laundry. I liked that,
Yeah, that was cool.
and then you got the dude like mind feeding the fish. You're like, time to eat fish. You're like, look, eat it. Like even I like you're eating fish food, dude. Come on. But then
Yeah.
he goes into his garage and well, dunzo for him.
Yeah, and I never I was laughing because I was watching. I'm like, they must have like a convenience store, but homie was like eating everything that they sell. Like he's drinking stuff, he's eating peanuts, he's drinking juice. It's like, and then he puts it back down on wherever. I mean, I guess where he found it at, and I'm just like, wow. He's like, this guy's really hungry.
Must be like
Yeah,
that tapeworm in his stomach. But
yeah,
I just, like I said, I do like the opening because Jason is at his most bloodthirsty in this movie. Like, I mean, we can just parlay into talking about that because Jason is at his most Jason, like here, because the first two movies, Jason is in the lake at the end, and then in 2, he's Sackhead Jason. Here is the purest idea of Jason to this point. Like I said, hockey mask machete, but then he's just walking around and he's just a machine. Like he's not only using the machete, but he's using rakes. He's using like his own
everything.
hands.
Yeah,
We'll get to that in a second, but like he just destroys that biker gang. Like he just and there's, to the movie's credit, the barn scene is actually quite good too, where the biker gang goes in and what the female member of the biker nearly is like, oh, and is like the rake
goes.
the tines
Yeah,
on the rake nearly go in, and
yeah,
then like one scene later she's like rake through the neck. I thought that was pretty good. Like
yeah.
the
That
biker
was
gang is
that was cool.
just too over the top, and we'll get to that, but there's a lot of creativity in the kills here at least.
Yeah, and also that first scene that you were talking about, I got odes of little flashbacks of Halloween on that too, with the laundry, just kind of lurking around. You know what I mean? When you see the shadowy Michael Myers figure, and then he's gone. I feel
I
like that
was
was kind of an ode to that.
I was thinking more I was thinking more Halloween 2 myself.
Yeah, yeah. But I was thinking the same thing though. They use that as a way to draw, suspense, which I appreciate. It was fun, like you said. It's that opening scene, that opening whole segment there is strong enough. It builds the suspense, but just it does kind of like fall apart there throughout the film. Obviously, we'll talk about that, and I think it gets a little stronger near the end as well. But that barn is a great environment for a lot of the kills throughout this whole entire film. You see a lot of the kills being utilized in the barn.
I imagine Ty West must have been watching that and said, "You know what? I'm taking that. I'm
Yeah,
taking that. I'm taking that."
yeah.
Because you watch X and you watch this movie and you say to yourself, "Okay, the rake is definitely an X kill." Like
Yeah,
there's Ty was definitely taking some notes. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you could definitely see where these movies definitely, you know, kind of inspired people to do their own, like, filmmakers. They see, such, pop, lexicon of films like, your Nightmare on Elm Street, your Friday the 13th, your Halloweens, your Texas Chainsaws, and how many films in the horror genre borrowed from these franchises is completely crazy.
Yes, but we get our first full-blown Jason. Like I said, this is played by Richard Brooker, who would play Jason here and in part 4. So we have our first official Jason, and I thought he did a good job. He's no Kane
Yeah,
Hodder, but I think he
yeah.
did a good job.
No, I feel like he was menacing enough. I felt like direction wise though, I felt like he entered the scenes. There was a couple scenes where I just wish they just wouldn't have showed him. You know what I mean? I feel like he was on there like when he has, I don't know. There was, I wish they could have cut it sooner. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was on screen to make it more suspenseful. But I definitely like him enough though. He's definitely a menacing enough, Jason. But again, he's only given what the director's giving him. You know what I mean? So obviously, and I don't know. And that's the other thing. I don't know really where they thought this was going to go, what they thought they were going to do with this. You know what I mean? I think there was a learning curve while they were filming this too. I can imagine as well.
Yeah, it had to be. But I'll go out on a limb and say that the teens are probably the most annoying of these movies so far, with the exception of
Yeah.
Chris. Like I actually thought Chris was pretty good. No Alice, but she's still pretty good. However, However, you got Shelley doing like the fake out kill thing like 20
Stupid.
times in the
Yeah.
movie. I'm just like, okay, we get it. You're setting up for like when
Yeah.
this guy Baker comes in, but then when the real thing comes in, you're really gonna be shocked. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
sir, like it was fine the first time, but then you did it 20 other times, and now it sucks.
Yeah, and then he's like the friend that's constantly friend zoned by all the females, and he like throws a pity party about it. Boo-hoo, you know what I mean? Like it's like, dude, I don't know, man. Like
Of the like the whole cliche with horror movies of like all the teens just want to have sex. This
Yeah.
might be the one that I've seen the trope of the most, because like literally there's a scene where like Shelly and the dude are like juggling, and they're juggling like balls and stuff, and
Yeah.
one of them is like, I know something better you can do with your hands. I'm like,
yeah. Oh,
it's
really?
subtle, you are not.
Yeah, it's like I wonder what we're gonna go do.
Gee, I wonder. But like I said, like the middle is not fun, but the ending is actually really good. From the minute that actually, I'll touch on that in a second, but I just thought of something. One of the characters wears a blue sweater similar to Mrs. Voorhees.
Similar to
Did you
Mrs.
catch-
Voorhees. I thought that too. I did think that. I did.
I don't know
Yep.
if that was a coincidence or just something that was deliberate, but it's just something that I noticed.
Yeah, yeah. Are you talking about the guy, right?
Yes.
Wasn't he? He was wearing the light blue. Yeah, no, I noticed it too.
No, like
But
he's like, you want a beer? Like at the shower, and then he's like doing the handstands, and then Jason cuts him in half. That's honestly one of the better kills in the movie.
for sure. I definitely like that kill, and I think that would have been really kind of cool in 3D too, especially with how they framed that with the blade kind of coming at you. I thought that was kind of cool too. But the other thing I noticed about this one, there's really no camp counseling. There's really no counseling. It's really just them all going out, pretty much just having fun. You know what I mean? And can we say that? I'm assuming this is supposed to be obviously Camp Crystal Lake, and I got to laugh. It looks so different and completely not like the other two movies. You know what I mean? I just think it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Still takes place in New Jersey though, because we got to keep that going.
Yeah, because even though I think it was filmed in California.
Well, hang on, let me look for sure. Was shot on location at the Valuezette Movie Ranch in Sauget, California. So, yep, you were right.
Yeah. You can kind of tell just because, like, I know obviously Jersey is the birthplace of it, obviously for i.e. the first one, and then I think they go away, which I think kind of stinks because you kind of want to have that whole entire environment. I think that's kind of cool. It adds to the lore of Friday the 13th. You know what I mean? You can tell it looks different. I mean, obviously it looks like a camp in the woods, but you can tell it looks a lot different than what we saw obviously several years prior.
Yes, but like I alluded to, the ending is actually great. When Chris sees the body hanging from the tree of one of the bikers to the bitter end, that's when the movie gets really good. Like the fight through the house where Jason just throwing bodies at her, like he crashes through the window, like just Chris throws a stack of books on top of him. I thought that was really funny. And then you get it pretty much a chase scene. Like you get an homage to Psycho and The Shining, two scenes apart from each other.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to the barn. And then we get our first how did Jason survive that, when Chris knocks him out with a shovel to the head, puts a noose around him, hangs him, but then he like hangs down, takes the noose off of his head, and she's like, "How are you still alive?" And the mask comes off, and you see the face, and you're like, "Rah!" Like, I thought that was honestly really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then just everything leading up to Mrs. Voorhees like rising up from the lake, a subversion of the original. Great stuff. No notes.
I like it. I think it does a good job. Obviously, switching it. You think you're going to see Jason again. I've seen this before. And then Mrs. Voorhees pops out of the water. I think that's kind of cool.
I think they kind of teased it too much though, because like she's out on she being Chris, pronouns.
Yeah.
She's out on the lake, like she's in the boat, and she's like, oh, and she jumps. I'm like, okay, that was cool. And then she bumps against a branch. I'm like, okay. And then she gets to the side, and then Mrs. Voorhees pops up. Nice scene and all, but you're reheating your own nachos, movie. Come on.
Yeah, but then the other thing I did appreciate, the callback to her dream, or her dream that wasn't really a dream. We think happened obviously in real life. She when Jason takes his mask off or whatever, she realizes that that's the guy from the dream, or from the scene where she is sitting down under the tree. I thought that was kind of a good callback. But put that story in there, obviously, in order to, I guess, tie a bow on it, or in this case, tie a noose on it, maybe.
Something like that. I think at the end of the day, though, this is definitely the worst of the 3 movies we've covered so far, but I'm going to give this a high good rating. It's still fun. Like, the opening and closing are great, and then the middle part is just kind of a slog. But thankfully, the movie's only about 90 minutes, so it's a pretty smooth slog, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to digest 90 minutes. Obviously, this is the weaker of the 3 films. Right now, I think we're both in unison with the order 1, 2, and 3 as in orders from best to worst. I tried to see where I could try to see if there was any way that 3 could beat 2, and it just couldn't, because at the end of the day, the characters are just kind of annoying. I like our, heroine, obviously, in the second film, and then they do talk about that she does survive, so she's still alive, I guess, as of the beginning of the third film. So I don't know, because all that's going on when the husband and wife, when the wife's watching the TV on the couch, they're talking about the murder scene from the second film, obviously. But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it's okay. A lot of these movies will have the same type of theme, like obviously camp killing sex. This one, at the end of the day, I mean, there's some cool scenes. The beginning and the end are tight. Outside of that, though, it's kind of forgettable. And they even I like how they even try to throw that another Ralph character in with the guy laying in the middle of the road, and they're going to almost hit him. I thought that was kind of funny. They were kind of trying to put another crazy man in there, another crazy.
He's only there to stick an eye out at the camera, because
because it's in 3D. It's in 3D, guys.
I could take your popcorn, person.
Speaking of popcorn, I do love that scene where he's popping popcorn and it's popping up. I think that would have been really cool in the theaters. I did like that one a lot. He's catching it in his mouth. I thought that was kind of cool.
Kind of dangerous, but I do admire the spirit.
Something different.
Yeah, but what did you all think of Friday the 13th Part 3? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. We are officially nearing 1/4 of this project done, Russell, because next week we'll be covering the 4th one. We'll get to that in a second. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, Notorious by Chance on Facebook is the group. We haven't put any polls up since Children of Men. We recorded that episode. Check that one out. We also recorded Avengers: Age of Ultron on our way for our MCU rewatch up until obviously Avengers: Doomsday. So check that out. Also, Notorious by Chance on YouTube with the NFL season kicking off. Chance and his buddies are going to be putting some content out there. So if you're a big football fan, urge you to kind of go over there and watch their content. Some good stuff if you're a football fan.
Yep, the link's down below. Subscribe to them over there. As far as this channel goes, next Friday we will return to Crystal Lake, and we will return. We'll be taking the 3D glasses off. And we'll be talking about what up to this point, and I have not rewatched it as of this recording, so knock on wood, my favorite of these movies, Nightmare on the Earth.
See, yeah.
Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. But this one is my
Final
favorite.
chapter.
This one is my favorite as I sit here now. But will it remain that? Well, you'll just have to find out. But for Russell, my name is Ryan Gam. See you all in the next one. Y'all take care.